A western's important yet undermined component was its setting. In most westerns, it was the desert filled with freedom and glory, which was highly emphasized by its grand scope of heat, showing the untamed lands. Now the western film was set in the snow, which indicates death and liberty, free from glory and justice, always in favor with the rich as the poor becomes hopeless with an unfair system within capitalism itself. Was it able to beat Once Upon a Time in the West? Fuck no. That shit has me watching over and over again thanks to its tiny details fixated on emphasizing its themes on each scene, and placing thought upon its suspense and dialogue within their situation, making it gut-wrenching within the fourth viewing. So what does The Great Silence have? It broke the western genre. As much as Leone deconstructed the West, it was not enough to pass the message coherently in its first viewing. If Leone relied upon the camera works and facial expression as its way of conveying the message, alongside emotions with each scenes, for Corbucci, it was the writing, props, and setting. The snow killing the horses, a band of outlaws willing to eat a horse for keeping their survival, the harsh blizzard giving the psychopaths to their advantage, the lack of people working on the road. It was empty. It was cold. It was brutal. The horses symbolizes in the western genre as their power, and it fades due to the sheer cruelty of the cold, their power slowly stripped away, being exchanged for survival. Hell, because of its sheer brutality and cold approach to the genre, it inspired Tarantino's 8th film The Hateful Eight to enter the big screen. It even inspired Red Dead Redemption 2's Chapter 1, Coulter. Silencio, the hero, is even known as the devil to some as his right hand becomes the angel of death while carrying the instrument of bloodshed and will of a bastard until compassion was what becomes of his fate. Tigrero, a psychopathic cheating bounty hunter, took advantage of his job to be pardoned with his tortures and savagery by the law. What's interesting is that Silencio is still to a degree a villain against his targets, like Tigrero by torturing them whenever he feels like it, until the concept of love pertained to his agenda. Tigrero has never found something to love, he was just a no-good killer like Silencio, but the government deemed it legal anyways. Silencio is actually hypocritical with his morality as he is known to only murder in self-defense, but he still somewhat provoked his targets by any means necessary. The score is severely underrated compared to other works of Morricone.
Di difendersi. Andiamo!
Sure, other have this essence of power brought through glory and intimidation, but in this track, it's stricken what most heroes lack. Vulnerability and hope fading into obscurity as reality aids savagery and savagery belittles compassion alongside its poor unfortunate souls. There are moments where the choir makes best of hope entering into the dreadful orchestra which failed into remaining its presence as barbarity took over. A great example of another scene was the final confrontation. You hear the choir as Silencio rise up against the bounty hunters and see the falsely accused outlaws, but this happens. Silencio fucking dies and the choir becomes a fucking mess. His hands are fucked as he suffered the same fate as his tortured victims. The villain was standing there as if he feels power, and you know what? He is powerful in this scene. Because while strength and honor is used by Silencio to confront the bastard's power is merely abused as Tigrero snaps silence back into reality. Reality is unfair. Honor dies within the snow. To survive is to live with no compassion, but to live is to die with one. Okay, time for the flaws. Why is there a flashback scene? What does this add to the movie? A shitty prosthetic work on his hand? Dude, his thumb is still attached to his stupid hand. Just look at it. Why would you include this? This sex scene looks stupid. I appreciate titties and fat ass, but this scene took too long to end. And are sex scenes supposed to be that long? How the hell did Tigero's horse survive that long? Most horses died like flies, but his just kept going and going and going and going. Also, simply wrapping a gun around a warm coat won't survive within a few days. Sure, if it was within 24 hours, but knowing Tigero stayed there for a few days, the gun should have froze. Yeah, we can see you blinking. In conclusion, this movie was extremely controversial and is truly phenomenal to this day. If you love westerns, watch it. If you love movies that put art in its value, go watch it. If you only love Marvel movies, then skip this movie because there's no CGI, no ridiculous explosions, only despair and suspense ending in a barbaric shootout. 9 out of 10.